I would like to call to order the December 20th, 2021 Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Welcome. It's good to have a lot of folks with us tonight. We are happy to have Josh Furr, deacon and youth leader at Broadus Baptist Church, with us tonight for our invocation.
Board members, I just want to thank you for the invitation and allowing me to come up here and pray for us. On behalf of my wife and my son, wish you guys a very Merry Christmas. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for this day. We thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to meet and to discuss the issues and the topics of our county. Lord, I thank you for the dedication and the willingness of the members of this board to give up their time, Lord, to serve their community. Lord, I pray for the decisions and the topics to be discussed tonight, that everyone in attendance here would be attentive to it, that the board members would be led and directed by your Spirit, Lord, and that they would make the decisions that would be not only beneficial to our community and our county, Lord, but that would fall within your will, Lord. And above all, we're thankful, especially at this time of year, Lord, for your Son, Jesus Christ, who came and was born in a manger to grow up and die on a cross for our salvation. I pray, Lord, that everybody here in attendance, everybody listening at home, would come to know him as their Lord and Savior. Lord, I thank you again for this time. I pray that you bless it, Lord. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Josh. We appreciate you being here, and your wife and your extremely well-behaved child as well. And we would love for you to stay for the entire meeting, but if you need to slip out the side door, we understand. Thank you. Next up is the approval or correction of the minutes. And commissioners, all of you have a copy of those in front of you. So what would be your pleasure on that item?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. That motion passes. And we move now to the board organization portion of our meeting, which is the election of chair and vice chair, which occurs the last regular meeting of the year, each year. And so I will turn the meeting over to County Manager Mike Downs to conduct that portion.
Okay, it's that time of the year when we have our elections. So the floor is now open for chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. Are there any nominations?
Get my mic to work. County Manager, I'd like to nominate Steve Morris to continue on to be our chairman. He's done an excellent job. He has the time, he loves it, and he's good at it. And I'm a firm believer, if something's not broke, don't try to fix it. And I'm very well pleased with Steve. And Steve, I'd nominate you if you'll accept that.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other nominations?
I move that we close the nominations.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, so Mr. Shu, would you like to cast the vote or acclamation for Commissioner Morris?
Absolutely, I will.
So all those in favor of Mr. Shu's vote for Commissioner Morris, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and Commissioner Shu, Commissioner Morris will serve as chairman of the board for the ensuing year. And I'll pass that back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, sir. And thank you, commissioners. I appreciate your vote of confidence. And at this time, we will open the floor for nominations for vice chairman.
Chairman Morris, I would like to nominate Commissioner Kiger as vice chair of the board.
Great. Thank you. Are there other nominations? If not, I would accept a motion that nominations be closed and Commissioner Kiger be elected by acclamation.
So moved.
Nominations be closed.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Shue, a second from Commissioner Honeycutt. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. That motion, that you are elected unanimously. Congratulations. And we will now receive comments from the chairman and vice chairman. And as I said before, thank you for expressing confidence in me. It's my pleasure to serve this board. We have a very dedicated group of commissioners, and I think we've accomplished a lot of positive things, and certainly appreciate the opportunity to work for you. I would like to also commend Commissioner Honeycutt, has served as vice chairman for about the past 6 years, and has done an excellent job, and that makes my job a lot easier, knowing that I can always depend on her to assist in that regard. And Commissioner Kiger, you have large shoes to fill for the next year, but I will turn the floor over to you now.
Well, I will try my best to fill those shoes the best that I can. I appreciate the confidence from the board, and I look forward to performing this duty. And again, I would like to also express thanks to Commissioner Honeycutt for her years of dedication to public service, serving as our vice chair, and it goes well beyond that, so thank you.
Great. Okay, we move now to approval of the agenda, and all of you have a copy of that before you. So do I hear a motion to approve the meeting agenda, including the changes on page 31?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. And we move now to the recognition and presentation portion of our meeting. And first up from Human Resources, recognition of Captain David Taylor's retirement from the Sheriff's Office. And we welcome Chief Deputy Bailey to the podium.
Thank you, Chairman and Board. It is my distinct pleasure tonight to recognize Captain David W. Taylor on his retirement. David began his career at the Sheriff's Office July the 6th, 1992, when he was sworn in by then Sheriff Robert Canaday. His first assignment was on patrol, and then he was moved to the hospital division. And yes, back in 1990, what, David, 3 or 4, we had a hospital division at that time. So after being assigned to the hospital, he was moved to animal control, where he was an original member of our animal control division after he was transferred under the control of the sheriff. So prior to that, they were non-sworn, and again, today we have the sworn staff of animal control personnel. He was promoted to Sergeant of Animal Control on December the 12th, 1998 by Sheriff Canaday, and was subsequently promoted to Lieutenant of Animal Control on February the 2nd, 2004 by Sheriff Riley. On December the 7th, 2018, Sheriff Van Shaw promoted David to a new position. This was a new captain's position, which was the Captain of Governmental Services, where he oversaw the communications to 911 Center, Animal Control, Animal Shelter, Courthouse Security, and then the newly created Governmental Security Division. I know in speaking with David, he feels a real sense of investment in the new courthouse, as he's been involved in the building process, the planning, and the staffing for the new courthouse. I know he has a sense of investment in animal control, having supervised that division for over 20 years. And he is very proud to have assembled and oversaw the new governmental security divisions. So as you can see, David's fingerprints are kind of all over things we've got going on currently at the Sheriff's Office. Some highlights of David's career. In 2009, he was awarded the Kevin Pugh Veteran Officer Award as the Veteran Officer of the Year for the agency, which was awarded by then Sheriff Riley. In addition, David is an animal law instructor for the Humane Society of the United States, where he travels the country instructing on animal law, including cruelty law and procedures. And one of the highlights of David's career was in September of 2016, when he was able to bust the county's first major puppy mill. With this bust, he was awarded the Humane Societies of the United States Officer of the Year for the state of North Carolina. And for those who don't know, the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office was on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine for that bust. Tonight, David is accompanied by his wife, Donna, they're all sitting on the second row. His mother, Frances Taylor, his children, Hayden, and Hayden's wife, Melanie, and Harley Taylor, and her boyfriend, Thomas. I believe his brother, Rodney, is also here as well. On behalf of Sheriff Shaw, David will be deeply missed, and his absence will create a large void, but we are happy that he will begin what will hopefully be a relaxing and joyful time for himself and his family. And may your hunting grounds be plentiful in your retirement. So congratulations, David.
Thank you. I don't have a whole lot to say. It's been fast. I didn't come from a family of law enforcement officers at all. I was a Kannapolis kid, born and raised, still live there. And I get picked at about that from the sheriff's office, but I'm very proud of that. But it started, I didn't really have a clue what I was doing, just to be honest with you. But 30 years of it, I've learned a lot about people. I think it's a lot about helping and serving the people. I think Commissioner Downs said that today. It's about serving the people here. And I've done it as long as I want to do it, and I'm going to go do something else now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
You have done an exemplary job, and all that you did, the puppy mill may be the one thing that we all remember. I mean, that is tremendous. So thank you. Chief Bailey mentioned getting some rest and relaxation, which does not include a clock,
Right.
but we're giving you one anyway.
Right.
So thank you very much for your hard work and your dedication. Law enforcement's truly a calling, and we just appreciate all that you've done for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, David, for your service, and you will be missed. And I think that of all the things that you have accomplished, there are people that have written songs about appearing on the cover of Rolling Stone. So that's a pretty big deal. But thank you. We appreciate it. Okay, and we move now to recognition of Ronnie Blackman's retirement from Cabarrus County Human Services Department, and we welcome Karen Calhoun to the podium.
Thank you, and good evening, Commissioners. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Ronnie Blackman to come up. And if you have some family and friends that want to join you, that's perfectly fine as well. I think you brought an entourage.
You guys want to come up? All right, come please.
So it is my privilege to recognize Mr. Ronnie Blackman for 30 years of service with the Department of Human Services. He started on January 14th, 1992 in what was formerly known as the JOBS program, Job Opportunity and Basic Skills Training Program. This particular program was initiated from the work incentive program that was actually out of legislation of the Social Security Act of 1967, presented by John F. Kennedy. This particular program evolved to what is known in North Carolina, that was changed in 1996 to be the Work First program, Work First Employment Program, that is designed to help people find jobs, job skills training, and education supportive services. He has worked in that program faithfully for all these years, and we are so very proud to recognize him on behalf of the department and the citizens of Cabarrus County. Thank you for your dedicated service, sir. I'll turn it over to you.
Leaders of Cabarrus County, it's an honor, a privilege to stand here along with my wife, Carmen, married for 38 years, my college sweetheart. She asked me to marry her, and I accepted. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My daughter and my son, Shanice Blackman, Shannon, and an awesome grandbaby there, Kennedy, who has the Christmas colors on. And also, it's an honor to have my family there. I have family from Florida. I reminded him when he retired from the military, 20 years of service. I was there and I spoke at his retirement, and to see him here, I'm delighted. My heart is overwhelmed. And my sister is here, I have niece, and family is everything, my aunt, and family is everything. But to say, it has been a privilege and an honor to serve Cabarrus County. I grew up here, I'm a native. I've been here all my life. I left to go to college, but returned because Cabarrus County is a great place to be. And it was a privilege to serve. And I can recall when I interviewed for the job, and I was under Mr. Cook, Jim Cook, and those that was interviewing me, James Polk, and I said this to them. I says, you know, I was sold with the program, and I says, you know, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So it was an honor to teach people how to fish. And these 30 years, Karen, we have great leadership in Cabarrus County. It has been an honor. It has been an honor to serve. I think one of the greatest positions we will ever have in life, the position to serve. So thank you, Cabarrus County, for giving me that chance. And the greatest thing, I'm going into the next chapter of my life, my priority of living will be God, my faith, my family second, church and friends third. And that priority will I live the remaining of my life. But the greatest thing, I will always, as a pastor, I serve as a senior pastor at a church in Kannapolis, a church that my dad pastored for 38 years. He passed away, and I picked up his mantle to move forward. But the greatest thing, I will have the opportunity now to be a mouthpiece for Cabarrus County, for the agency. I believe in that agency. That agency is positive. Awesome leadership, I believe in it, and I'm here to serve. So thank you so much, Cabarrus County, for allowing me to serve. God bless you greatly.
On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, we thank you for your service. And it is our honor to host you and your family here. Thank you very much for coming and participating. You'll be missed, and we look forward to hearing you be the mouthpiece for me, the mouthpiece for the department. I look forward to hearing you.
It will be an honor.
Thank you very much for your dedication.
Thank you, Ronnie. We appreciate your service, and I have a suspicion that probably they are going to know that you are not in the building when that voice is not present. Okay, we move now to item 3, which is our Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Day Proclamation. And I will read that at this time. Whereas Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, and devoted his life to fighting poverty, injustice, and racism in America. And whereas Reverend Dr. King, through his practice of nonviolent protest, promoted the importance of love, peace, and freedom for humankind and challenged America to honor its promise of liberty and justice for all citizens. And whereas during his lifetime, Reverend Dr. King sought to forge the common ground on which individuals of all ages, races, and backgrounds could join together to address important community issues and provide service to their community. And whereas the third Monday in January has been established as a national holiday to observe the anniversary of Reverend Dr. King's birth and commemorated as a National Day of Service. Now therefore, the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims Monday, January 17th, 2022 as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Cabarrus County, and encourages all citizens to join in the special programs and ceremonies to be held throughout the county honoring the life and work of Reverend Dr. King and his legacy of peace and equality for all citizens. Do I hear a motion, Commissioners, that we adopt this proclamation as read?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. That motion passes. And we move now to a proclamation celebrating Corrine Cannon's milestone birthday. And I will read that proclamation at this time. Whereas it has been brought to the attention of the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners that Mrs. Corrine Cannon celebrated her 102nd birthday on December 1st, 2021, and whereas Ms. Cannon was born in 1919 to Emmanuel and Rosa Lytle of Huntersville, North Carolina, and whereas Corrine attended Logan High School in Concord, North Carolina, and whereas Corrine married Esau Cannon in 1938, and their marriage was blessed with 8 children, 21 grandchildren, 28 great-grandchildren, and 9 great-great-grandchildren. And whereas in addition to being a wife, mother, grandmother, sister, and aunt, Corrine Cannon has been an active member of Covenant United Presbyterian Church in Kannapolis, serving in many leadership roles. And whereas Ms. Cannon was the first African American to be hired at Cannon Mills in a production position, she continues to be a strong advocate of equality in her community. And whereas Ms. Cannon has received multiple awards throughout her life, Cabarrus County Woman of the Year in 2013, 2014 President's Award from the NAACP, and the 2019 Lucy Lane Award. And whereas Ms. Cannon continues to lead a spectacular life as she has much more to celebrate. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners do hereby extend congratulations and best wishes to Mrs. Corrine Cannon on her big celebration and many more to come. And Commissioners, do I hear a motion that we adopt this proclamation as read?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And that motion passes. And we once again congratulate Ms. Cannon on her very long life and appreciate her service to our community. And so we move now to informal public comments. I have 4 yellow cards. 2 of these are for the informal public comment section of the meeting, and then I have 2 that for the public hearing on the Firearms Ordinance that will come later in our meeting. So just a reminder to anyone, if you do desire to speak and have not filled out one of these cards, you would need to do so and turn it in to our clerk. And so our first speaker is Jeter Anderson.
Hey, how's everyone doing tonight? Tonight, I'm speaking to the board because I can't talk to Mike Downs. He's locked me out. He's locked the doors, won't return phone calls. And I'm speaking to the board because my sister was done wrong by Jay White. She was tried 3 times in the courthouse with no lawyer present, and she died. She died. And Mike Downs, Jay White works for y'all. He works for y'all. And since he won't unlock the doors or return the phone calls, you know, that's neglect. That's creating some kind of abuse, and I see it and I witness it on my father not doing your job is a form of abuse. And anyway, DSS, a parking lot DSS, the building is literally in a parking lot. You know, it's a shame we got a new court building and our DSS looks like that. Monroe changed their parking lot DSS. Thomasville got different buildings where children be taken away. This needs to be resolved. This is falling on the board. This is falling on y'all guys. He's locked the doors. He won't return the phone calls. Someone got hurt. And it's not a joke. This is serious. This is my sister. As you heard Rodney say, family is everything. 2 people. And his bi-binary worker stepping on my Christian values, coming in our home. Bi-binary. Gender identity. Can't tell if they're man or woman. Confused this 7-year-old child to death and fired the supervisor, Jessica Bridges. Just let her go. And I seen her at the hospital later on, and I asked her, I said, what happened? She said, I didn't like what they were doing. And then she left. And then now she's up at Charlotte DSS. We lost a good DSS worker. She was tough on my sister, but she investigated. And when we went up there to talk to her, she was gone. 2 other DSS workers seen my niece and wanted her and liked her. And they talked about her skin color, and they talked about her being black. And I knew that was wrong right away. The justice system does not see color. They do not see color. And I can't talk to Mike Downs at all. The door is locked. You investigated this, and Jay White calls me and threatens me. I took him to court for threatening me. So the investigation wasn't good at all. And my sister's gone. Prosecuted 3 times to the fullest. Unlock your doors, sir. This is Christmas. I'm going on without my family again. Y'all got some thinking to do. Wake up.
Okay, our next speaker is Jerry Anderson.
Congratulations to you, sir, on your reelection.
Thank you.
Yeah, he stepped on what I was going to say, basically, but I was just saying we need to take a look. I know my daughter got taken wrongly, and I kind of looked around and seen why, and went by there, and where our DSS is located, it's a parking lot DSS. You can get blood taken there, you can get your kid taken there, or you can get other things done there. It's really in shambles. They had one like it in Monroe, North Carolina, and the supervisor got in trouble there, if y'all can remember way back. And now they built a building they proud of, like your courthouse. But if you got a place that's intertwining with the social people in your community, you need to have them a place to work, a place to you know, be proud of. There's a lot of things that go on in parking lots. But anyway, I went to Google, and Google says, this is what Google says about DSS over there. Unprofessional, which I believe. They let the Jessica Bridges go, and the 2 that they brought on took my child. They're untrained, what Google says, rude, very rude, and not helpful. And I just wish y'all would go to Jada Sue Anderson Facebook and see what we're talking about on there. We got the phone calls of Jay White calling us, threatening us. Why he did that is because he's wrong. And people at TikTok, Jay White, TikTok. And I'm sorry I overstood my time. But thank y'all. Y'all have a nice Christmas.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we move now to the consent agenda, a portion of our meeting. All of the items on our consent agenda are ones that we have discussed at length at our work session 2 weeks ago. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. That motion passes. And we move now to new business. We have three public hearings tonight. The first one being an economic development investment for the Kroger Fulfillment Network LLC. Samantha, welcome.
Good evening. Samantha Grass, Recruitment Project Manager with Cabarrus Economic Development. Thank you for the opportunity tonight to present the two components that make up Project Independence. Component K, the first one we're going to discuss, is Kroger Fulfillment Network, LLC. As part of Kroger's e-commerce strategy, Kroger has entered into a strategic partnership with UK-based Ocado to construct robotically automated customer fulfillment centers in select locations around the United States. The centers will provide an innovative, high-tech solution to enhance Kroger's direct-to-consumer e-commerce fulfillment functions. They plan to construct a 200,000 square foot facility at 227 Highway 49 in Concord. Projected investment is estimated to be $89 million in real and personal property, and they also plan to create 692 jobs. The Cabarrus County grant analysis is based on that estimated $89 million projected investment in real and personal property. We are asking for your consideration of a 3-year, 85% economic development grant. The estimated grant for the 3-year term is $1,220,763. Net revenue to the county during that grant term is over $200,000. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, Commissioners, questions for Samantha? All right, thank you. Okay, we do have a public hearing scheduled on this matter. So at this time, I will open the public hearing and invite anyone to the podium that would like to speak. Okay, seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Commissioners, what would be your pleasure on this item?
Chairman, I move that we approve the economic development agreement for 3 years, 85% between Kroger Fulfillment Network LLC and Cabarrus County, and to authorize the county manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the board, subject to review or revision by the county attorney.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Certainly, this is a project that I think we've all heard a lot about. Typically, we announce these when we have the vote. This involves some state incentives, so they have already made an official announcement, so there's been quite a bit of press about it. But once again, 692 jobs with wages above the current county average and an investment of $89 million is something that most counties in North Carolina would be envious of. And this is just one of many that we have had this year. So we're very fortunate.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make another comment too in reference to this. I've made the motion that we approve this, but you mentioned the county's medium wage now. It's projects like this and other projects that we've worked on for years that drive up the median income in Cabarrus County. Just in the last 2 years, I think our median income, and I stand to be corrected on this, but it has went from $41,000 to $43,000 median income, because a lot of these economic development programs that our EDC department bring to us, they are considerably more than the county's median average wage. And so when you got this, and my only real question was, I was talking to the county manager about this earlier, and it will make you think a little bit, is this particular project here is asking for 692 jobs. Well, my only question really is where are we going to find all the people? Well, we got all these jobs now, we can't get people to go to work. So that's a question that I have. But then again, I'm not making an $89 million investment. So I'm sure they're going to figure all that out before they ever come here. But anyway, it's a wonderful opportunity. And over the years, being a county commissioner, my other fellow commissioners, we've traveled across the state in different places where they would love to have an $89 million project. They would love to have any project because they're losing things. And the way that I see it, you know, we're having to give up a little bit, but we're going to get a lot in return. And we've discussed these projects in times past, and so that's why we didn't have a lot of questions tonight, because we've already discussed it before. But it's a great project. It's another great opportunity for our citizens to give them a better than the medium average wage. So I'm just real happy for the way that's going. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our average wage in Cabarrus County is getting now about 47? 43,687. And that will be reevaluated at the beginning of the year.
So that's for 2022.
Right. Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no.
No.
Okay, that motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Strang voting no. And we move now to our next item, which is an economic development investment for Ocado Solutions USA Incorporated.
So a component O to Project Independence is Ocado Solutions USA Incorporated. Ocado is a technology-led global software and robotics platform business that provides unique end-to-end solutions for online grocery clients around the world. Same location, of course, as Kroger, 227 Highway 49 Concord. Ocado's projected total investment is estimated to be over $50 million over 4 years in personal property. They also plan to create 30 jobs. The Cabarrus County grant analysis is based on their estimated investment made in those first 3 years, though, which is $48 million. We are asking for your consideration of a 3-year, 85% economic development grant. The estimated grant for the 3-year term is $536,537. The net revenue to the county during that grant term is over $94,000. Again, happy to answer any questions that you have.
Commissioners, questions for Samantha on this item?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what would be your pleasure on this item, Commissioners?
Did you have the hearing yet?
Oh, yes, you're right. We have to have a public hearing. So I now open the public hearing and then invite anyone to the podium that would like to speak on this matter. Okay, seeing no one, we will close the public hearing. And now, what would be your pleasure, Commissioners?
I'd make a motion to approve an economic development agreement, 3 years, 85%, between Ocado Solutions USA Incorporated and Cabarrus County, and to authorize the county manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the board, subject to review or revision by the county attorney.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Okay, I did participate in a video conference with these folks many months ago, and they they gave some demonstration graphically of the technology involved in this process, and it is pretty amazing that these are actually robots that go out and pull these orders and put them together. This is something that's going to benefit folks here in Cabarrus County with their home deliveries from, and I think Kroger, that's also Harris Teeter as well. So that's going to be something very unique for our community that I'm sure will expand to other places. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. No. And that motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Strang voting in the negative. And we move now to item 3, which is the modernization of the Discharge of Firearms Ordinance. And prior to opening the public hearing on that one, our Deputy County Attorney David Goldberg, as well as Chief Deputy Bailey from the Sheriff's Office, will give us some background on that item.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm going to read through a brief summary of the ordinance before being discussed here this evening. This is an ordinance to modernize the standards governing the discharge of firearms in the unincorporated areas of Cabarrus County. On the draft, subsection A, it offers 2 definitions. The important definition here is covered structure on line 21, which refers to an occupied structure, or B, a residence, business, house of worship, educational facility, park facility, or any other public gathering facility, regardless of these structures are occupied. This definition is applicable to the distance restrictions later in subsection B. Subsection B, starting on line 28, criminalizes several examples of conduct. One being carelessly and heedlessly discharging a firearm so as to endanger any person or property. 2 refers to discharging a firearm while appreciably impaired by an impairing substance, such as alcohol. 3 prohibits the discharge of a firearm on, from, or across any public street, highway, or right-of-way. 4 refers to prohibits the discharge of firearms on the property of another without having the permission from a person who owns or otherwise controls such property at the time of discharge. Number 5 prohibits the discharge of a firearm in a manner causing the projectile to enter the property of another without having permission from a person who owns or otherwise controls such property at the time of discharge. And then number 6 prohibits the discharge of a firearm within a 300-foot radius of a covered structure. That's the definition we referred to previously. Located on a parcel other than the parcel from which the firearm was discharged, which shall be measured from the point of discharge to the actual physical structure of a covered structure. To be clear, that 300-foot radius would emanate from the point the gun is discharged, but it would not include buildings that are within the same parcel of which the gun is discharged. So it only applies over the lines of the parcel for which the gun is being discharged at. There are exceptions listed in subsection A starting in line 42. In paragraph 1, starting on line 1 of the next page, provides several exceptions that are applicable to the entire ordinance, namely in defense of person, animal, or property. 2, it also accepts persons acting pursuant to a lawful direction of law enforcement officers. C refers to North Carolina license hunting is exempted from this ordinance. And then subparagraph D refers to discharges by law enforcement officers or members of the armed forces acting in the line of duty, including for training purposes. Paragraph 2 provides 2 exceptions to the distance requirement, the 300-foot radius. One exception is at a shooting range or other training facility operated by a law enforcement agency. Subparagraph B refers to by a person performing a historical ceremony and commemorative function in which such discharge does not involve the release of projectiles. Subsection D, starting on line 16, makes clear that this ordinance only applies within the unincorporated areas of the county. It would not apply within the incorporated areas within a city located in the county. Line 19, subsection E, makes clear about the relationship with other laws. This does not affect any other law whether state regulations governing the discharge of firearms, nor any other ordinance in the Cabarrus County Code of Ordinances or the zoning ordinance. And then finally, subsection F on line 24, it refers to this, a violation of this subsection is punishable as a misdemeanor. That is the ordinance before you, Commissioners. I'm happy to answer any questions.
About this extensively at the work session, so, and previous to that as well. So I think you've done a nice job of outlining what's in the ordinance. I don't know if Chief Deputy Bailey has any comments he'd like to make for the law enforcement side and who helped craft the ordinance.
Yes, Sheriff Shaw unfortunately is out of town tonight. No, there have been discussions ongoing for some time in regards to this ordinance. And for those who have been a part of the process, the original ordinance we started with was, and I had spent quite a bit of time, 23 years as a matter of fact, on patrol prior to being promoted up to chief deputy. It was unenforceable. The way the ordinance was written was very complicated, it was convoluted, it was hard to enforce. While we feel like the distance is a little bit arbitrary, the fact that this ordinance gives us enforceability is key to us. It allows the deputy to make an on-scene determination of whether someone's discharging a firearm in a reckless manner, and regardless of distance can shut that down if they feel like it's a violation. So we very much approve of this ordinance and the way it is currently written.
I would just like to get a little clarification. I know when we left here last time, we were talking about 500 feet.
Yes.
And if you can give me a little background on how we got from 500 to 300.
Again, it's somewhat arbitrary. The fact of the matter is that I could take this sidearm off and discharge it today, and I could hit a house whether it's at 500 feet or 300 feet. The fact of the matter is it's just the way in which I hold it, the way in which I angle the firearm. So the distance is somewhat arbitrary. But to me, that's not the meat of what this ordinance currently, as it's written, gives us. The fact is when you look at outside 29 in subsection B, it allows deputies to be able to go out on the scene, and irregardless of distance, if someone is shooting in a way that we deem to be reckless, we can stop it immediately or charge them with a misdemeanor. So that is not how the ordinance has been in the past, and that's the part that we really like, because previously we would respond to a scene and we couldn't even interpret what the ordinance was saying and to be able to enforce it. So this is much clearer. Again, the distance, you could make up a distance, but depending on what I'm shooting, I could hit a house at 1,000 feet. So the distance is arbitrary to us. Outside section B is really where we find the meat and potatoes of this ordinance.
Okay, other questions for Mr. Goldberg or Chief Bailey?
Not a question. I guess just another comment to reiterate. This is in the unincorporated area of Cabarrus County.
Yes.
This is not inside Concord, Kannapolis, Harrisburg. They have their own ordinance.
That is correct.
Unincorporated area of Cabarrus County. And you said that, I just wanted to point that out. And the other thing I'd like to point out, because we did get quite a few email regarding this, and let's see if I can find, it was the very first exemption is for defense of a person who feels threatened. Person, animal, or property, including a person protecting a person, animal, or property against any dangerous or destructive animal. So that piece is in there. We're not infringing on anyone's right to protect themselves.
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I think, and you did a very good job. I think Mr. Goldberg put together a comparison of the versions, which, if I understand correctly, that was advertised in the public hearing notice, posted on the webpage, along with this ordinance. So everybody has had adequate time to examine that.
That is correct.
Great. Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, we did call for a public hearing, or schedule a public hearing on this item. So at this time, I will open the public hearing, and I will call on folks that have signed up to speak. The clerk has numbered each of these cards as she's received them, and that's the order that I will call on folks for. You'll have 3 minutes time, and the timer is there in front of you as well. So first we have Larry Pittman.
Good evening, Merry Christmas. I am a lifelong resident of North Carolina and a resident of Cabarrus County and Concord for a little over 31 years now. Hard to believe it's been that long. But I I've been handling guns safely since my daddy taught me when I was 6 years old. Several months back, Commissioner Strang and I and Sheriff Shaw and some others were involved in a meeting with a couple of residents of Harrisburg who had some concerns about people hunting too close to their property. And they had some very real concerns about that. The lady said she could look out her back door and see the guy sitting in a blind facing her house, hunting. I mean, that's a bit much. And so Commissioner Strang started working on this with Sheriff Shaw and trying to update the ordinance because they found that the existing ordinance was just, as was said earlier, unenforceable. And so I appreciate the work that they have done on this, and I have been consulting with Commissioner Strang on it as well. To address the issue of the changing from 500 feet to 300 feet, just to put that in perspective, I don't know how many people here are aware of the fact that, for instance, with a shotgun, the effective range of double-aught buckshot from a shotgun is 50 yards, which is half of that 300. 500 is just not necessary for that. 300 is more than enough distance for that. The other concern, of course, would be like a centerfire rifle. That travels a lot further. If you shoot it out straight, it's going to go a lot further than that. However, may or may not be aware, if you look at the Hunting and Fishing Regulations Digest of the state of North Carolina, it's already against the law in Cabarrus County to fire a centerfire rifle, even if you have permission to be doing it, from less than 9 feet above the ground, so that you got an angle going down where it cuts out a lot of that range. So I think 300 yards is quite, or 300 feet rather, is quite adequate. That is, as I say, that's half the distance of a football field. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, that's the distance of a football field. And as I say, the range of double-aught buckshot and a shotgun is half that distance. So I think this new proposed ordinance is very well written, will be, as Mr. Bailey was saying, a lot more enforceable, and it protects safety of citizens while at the same time protecting the right of gun owners and hunters and that sort of thing. So appreciate your time, and I hope you will adopt this.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Patsy Klontz.
Did you discuss with her that I was representing a group?
What, are you requesting more time?
Yes, I'm representing my entire family, which lives on like 50 acres that we're real concerned about.
Typically, we try to stay with 3 minutes per speaker unless somebody yields their time, but go ahead and get started, Will.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, I'm Patsy Klontz. I'm a lifelong resident of Township 8 in Cabarrus County. I was thrilled with the passage of Ordinance 2021-17 this summer, and on December 5th, I learned of the revision to reduce it by 80% from 500 to 300 feet. That's 5 football fields down to 1. Everybody knows how the guns go and how they go, but my point on that is the farther away, the better. There's a huge difference, and I would like very much for it to return to the 500 yards. But speaking as a resident who's seen my quality of life destroyed, living this long, 69 years on the same part of the earth, destroyed by semi-automatic, high-powered weapons, to a point I'm afraid to walk on my property. My animals are scared. My pets are scared to death. I'm even afraid the outside structure of my home may not be enough protection for me. The noise is horrendous. It lasts forever. I find no peace and quiet, even on Sunday mornings. They don't even observe Sunday mornings. And it's not just the gunfire by the homeowner, because it's not just the homeowner that does it. He brings in friends and groups, and they have a party, and it lasts for hours on end. This is not a father teaching his child how to use Grandpa's 410 or 22 rifle on how to bring home food to feed the family. This is people that shoot as fast as they can, as many as they can, and it's using weapons that are capable of killing a large amount of people in a short amount of time. The current noise ordinance does not cover ammunition or firearms. In fact, there's no decibel chart that registers any noise that's addressed on that. We live in a world where everyone says I'm entitled, or where I live, most of these people say, I'm gonna do what I wanna do on my own land. My country's style of life is disappearing so fast, and the next 10 years will probably be double what we have experienced the past 10, and it's gonna get worse. I desperately want my peace and harmony restored. I want it for me, I want it for my children, I want it for my grandchildren. They're the 5th and 6th generation on this land. Our zoning is AO, agricultural open spaces. The written rationale that goes with that says, maintained, unspoiled, permanent country, rural lifestyles for generations to come, and for those who choose to live this lifestyle. I choose to remain to the lifestyle that I have worked very hard to keep. It's very hard to keep ancestral land anymore. This is a sport for the people that want to shoot. I feel everyone is responsible to work and achieve for their wishes and their desires. As a sport, anyone who wants to go out and shoot like this should have the same responsibility and cost as others pay for their fun. You buy your property, make sure it's large enough to support you where you don't touch anybody else's. You obtain permits, you design and construct what you need, berms or walls, so it's appropriate safeguards that every live round that you shoot of ammunition stays on your own property, and inspections to ensure those safeguards. It's the same thing required for me if I decide today I'm going to rebuild a pool that I covered up a few years back. I go through the same process. Something I want to do for pleasure, I take the responsibility of it. It's time that we look at these things and see these things because it's affecting the lifestyle of so many people. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Jim Quick.
Good evening. It was about 2 years ago that we all joined, that you as a commission passed the Second Amendment resolution supporting the right for citizens to bear arms, and you reaffirmed that. And so, I thank you for the hard work that staff have done on this ordinance. I've followed it in the work sessions. I've followed the robust discussions. I think the chart that the deputy attorney created was informative for the citizens to really understand the changes that you all were trying to make, and I'm just here to support it. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. Okay, and our final speaker is Hal Allman Jr.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me speak. We have had a lot of stuff going on with this ordinance, and everybody's worked really hard. The Sheriff's Department, Barbara, and several of the citizens have worked hard for this thing to be fair to everybody. I think it's a great ordinance. I think it should be adopted. I think it's going to work for everybody concerned, even the lady that's concerned about the shooting over her place. I support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak that did not have an opportunity to turn in a card? Yes, sir. If you would state your name and address, please.
I'm Gary Staley, live in Kannapolis. I've been a lifelong resident of Cabarrus County. I want to personally thank Barbara Strange for her efforts and due diligence on this proposal. I teach concealed carry in Cabarrus County. I don't do it to make a living. I do it as a passion, and I encourage anybody to come to any of my classes. And if they've already got their CCW, they can come for free. I don't charge them. Like I said, I do it as a passion. But this proposal, as I have read it, I support it, and I hope you will too. I'm all for letting law-abiding citizens to defend themselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we will now close the public hearing. And Commissioners, what would be your pleasure on this item?
I make a motion to approve the ordinance as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the ordinance as presented. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion. I do have some questions that I guess we'll have a discussion period.
Yes, sir. We do have a motion and a second to approve the new ordinance as written, and we will now open the floor for discussion.
I guess I'd like to hear a little bit maybe from law enforcement on the situation that Ms. Klontz describes. It sounds to me like, if that's being fired and creating a dangerous situation, it's not only a violation of the current ordinance, that would have been a violation of the previous ordinance, but you would have been hamstrung trying to enforce it. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but that's what I've been hearing since June. I guess I just wanted to get a little more clarification on her specific situation and before we create something that we don't fully understand.
So I did speak with her on the phone. We talked for about 40 minutes. In her situation, she has family land that I think there was at least some portion of the land that was sold outside the family. And I believe those folks that moved across from her and that have adjacent properties, I believe she referenced one man that had 20 acres that would go to the back of his property away from the road and discharge his farm. In the old ordinance, before we ever even started to look at this ordinance, we could not have enforced any kind of gun laws on that property because it was not considered residential district. So there was no applicable gun law at all that we could use to enforce anything on her property at that time. When I spoke to her, I explained to her the caveat in the subsection that gives us the ability to look at what is happening. If someone's discharging a firearm, what's the distance? Are they doing it in a reckless way? If we can determine that, which we've always had the ability to determine it, it was whether or not we could enforce anything. If we can determine that that is the case, then we can certainly take action and stop it. She referenced some people that may be discharging across her property. When you read the proposed ordinance, it's a clear violation of the ordinance for people to fire across her property. So everything that she described, the ordinance addresses. The only thing that she brought up to me that I was not able to right away be able to, maybe enforce was the noise. We do have a noise ordinance, which also applies to the discharge of firearms. So again, that's something that the deputy can go out there and make the determination of whether that's going to be a violation of the noise ordinance.
Okay, well, that's going to be my follow-up question because, I'm a gun owner. I've said that sitting here before. But if I'm trying to drink coffee outside on Sunday morning and hear a firearm, that's probably not what I want to hear at that time too. Now, somebody has property and they're doing their own thing. I get all that. But I was a little unclear on whether whether it falls under the noise ordinance or not.
Again, it's in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. The fact is what some people consider to be an obnoxious, obscene, disturbing noise, someone else may not. So what do? You call law enforcement and the deputy will go out to the scene and he'll listen to the gunshots and they'll say, yes, I think that's too loud. Sometimes, we go out and we say, hey, we think that's, normal. That's okay. So it's really, again, it's up to the deputy responding to the scene. But again, as I explained to Ms. Klontz, the fact of the matter is in the old ordinance, we had no enforceability whatsoever with her current situation. So this at least gives the deputy some means of being able to enforce gun control or gun laws, firearm laws, and the noise.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
So is our current noise ordinance sufficient? And that's the reason we're talking about this because, as you stated, the old ordinance was not enforceable. Does our noise ordinance need some attention as well?
Oh, I'm pretty good with the noise. The fact of the matter is in the noise ordinance, it just references loud, crackling, popping, discharging of guns, that kind of thing. It says, but particularly between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. So we kind of narrow our scope whenever we get to a call that's after 11 p.m. and someone's out discharging a gun, for example. We are fortunate in the county that we have a firearms ordinance, and we're even talking about this. Rowan County, our neighbors, have no ordinance in any regard to firearms. So So yeah, we can address those, but again, noise is arbitrary. What's excessive to me may not be excessive to someone else. So it really is up to that deputy when he gets out on the scene to make that determination.
Right. Okay. Additional questions, commissioners, or discussion?
I don't have any questions. Commissioner Kiger, I did also must talk to Ms. Klontz at great length, and she does have some serious concerns and some serious problems, and I think this ordinance will help put some peace of mind for her. Some newer neighbors have moved in that seem to be a little bit reckless, so I think this will really help in her situation. Talked to some other residents as well, and they feel that that will also help rectify some issues that they've had in their unincorporated areas of the county.
Okay, further discussion, further questions? Yes, sir.
Just a couple of comments, Mr. Chairman. With the original ordinance that we did, that was over 50 years ago. And look at where we are now compared to where we were then. Quite a bit difference. I don't know, because I can't predict the future, but I do think, though, that we'll have to look at this again as the county grows at some point. I won't be here, but I can promise you, because it won't be another 50 years goes by, and we're going to have to look at this again. I mean, I don't know a lot about other counties like Mecklenburg County. You know, they're all gobbled up. There's not much county left. It's all municipalities. Cabarrus County is getting like that as well, because the municipalities are bringing in the areas that are unincorporated. So eventually there'll be a need to revisit this. And I made the statement the last time we talked about this, and speaking from my own self and just from my knowledge, I'm a gun owner. I have been since I can remember many, many years ago. But 300 feet is not a long distance. And if you're hunting or something like that, you know, I can understand that. And I know Representative Pittman said something about the 9-foot law. I understand that. But I think the biggest part of this ordinance right here, it doesn't really pertain that much to hunters as much as it does the people that want to go out and shoot their guns on Saturday. They want to go out and shoot the AR-15s or the whatever. Bow, 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 bow. I mean, I have it in my own backyard. I hear it. And I hear what everyone is saying about that. But to me, the whole thing all along has been about public safety. And, you know, I don't know that we've ever had an incident in Cabarrus County that I know of where somebody was killed or wounded or anything like that because of practicing or shooting on their own property. But just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean that it won't at some point. But I feel sure that this will be something that will be revisited at some point. And how long that'll be, I don't know. And truthfully, I'm not really all of that comfortable with the 300 feet. But like I told you, Jim, I can live with it. I told these commissioners, I can live with it. Because it's going to be on me. It's going to be on us for setting these ordinances like this. Somebody gets hurt, you know, I take responsibility for that. I'm accountable for that. And it's something that's real serious with me, because the chief will tell you, you know, when anybody that knows anything about guns, when you discharge, it's done. It's too late. And so you just have to remember public safety, respect of your neighbors, and, you know, everybody. Let's just try to get along and try to compromise where we can and make it work for everybody. That's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions, comments?
It may be redundant, but I guess I'm going to say that we have a high regard for Chief Bailey, the sheriff, the entire department, whose job it is to go and enforce this and take what could potentially be a volatile situation and get it under control. And I think we've given you the tools to do that. But again, as Commissioner Shue just said, I mean, we're kind of where the rubber meets the road, and we were putting a lot of trust in you all, and we have a lot of trust in you. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that to mention that.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that the district attorney's office was part of these conversations as well.
Ms. Honeycutt, yes, the district attorney's office has looked at this, and they approved of the rewrite of the ordinance as it stands. And let me make it clear, and I was listening to, and Commissioner Shue and I spoke briefly prior to the meeting. You are a legislative body. You do make ordinances and laws that we have to abide by. We have laws for various things throughout this great state and this county. Laws don't prevent people from violating them. It just is unfortunately the way it is. So you have to do what's in the best interest of everyone, and we think this ordinance is enforceable. So thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, we will move to a vote. We have a motion on the floor to approve the proposed ordinance as written. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. That motion passes. We move now to reports. And so at this time, we will receive updates from commission members who serve as liaisons to municipalities or on various boards or committees.
I would just like to say the Youth Commission has been a busy bunch of students. They collected a bunch of boxes, school supplies, and most of those, if I'm not mistaken, have been delivered. They are working diligently to get the message out, also to get new members. They're looking for additional Youth Commission to join them. They have several vacancies. The applications are online, and they are willingly, with open arms, looking for students to jump in there.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports?
Well, from the town of Harrisburg, I believe it's the only municipality that has a new mayor. So at our next quarterly summit, which I believe is January the 29th, well, I don't know. It's coming up in January. We'll have some new faces, and we'll start another season of those meetings, and well, hopefully that will continue to be something very productive.
Yes, and of course, we have new council members from several of the municipalities as well. Any other reports? Hearing none, I will open the floor for general comments by board members.
All I want to do, Mr. Chairman, is just wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a safe Christmas, and try to stay Omicron free. That seems to be the new deal now these days. But anyway, we're going to get through this one too.
Yeah, I'd like to echo Commissioner Shue. Just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and healthy, strong and healthy, and I hope everybody enjoys time with their family and friends to the best that they can.
Great, thank you. Any other?
I would just take a moment to say that we did have the opportunity today to recognize long-term employees from 5 years to 40? 40. To 40 years with the county, and so that was quite an honor to be able to recognize the great work that they've done. We're very fortunate here in Cabarrus County to have employees who just really care about what they're doing in our community. So we can't say thank you enough to all of you for what you do. I want to wish you happy holidays as well, and I also want to thank the commissioners and the county for giving me the opportunity to represent this board as vice chairman of the years. It's truly been an honor. I can't tell you how rewarding it has been, and the comments that we get from people out in public. You get some that aren't, and that you expect probably more of that than the other. But I think we've been very fortunate to have people on board with the process of what we're doing, and it's just been an honor. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Any others? And just to follow up on what Commissioner Honeycutt said in our recognitions for employees this afternoon, we're talking about over 1,700 years of service that were recognized this afternoon. So that, I think, speaks a lot for the dedication of our employees and the service that they provide to citizens, that we have that much longevity. I will mention our two top honorees, number one being 40 years of service for Londa Strong, who is Director of our Active Living and Parks Department, and then 35 years from our own County Manager, Mike Downs. So thank you, sir, for 35 years of service. There is significant value that I can't adequately describe in having that level of experience and that level of historic knowledge of Cabarrus County and why things are, what has transpired over the years. So we very much appreciate that and appreciate your continuing to serve. And I'm not sure how many of us will still be on the board when we get ready to celebrate your 50 years of service. So, but we're looking forward to that. And certainly want to echo what was said earlier. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday season. Hope you have an opportunity to enjoy your families and relax from the hectic pace that most of us keep all the time. We do have need of a closed session tonight. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session as authorized by North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A 3, 5, and 6.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. And we are now in closed session. And thank you to everyone in our television audience for joining us tonight, as well as all of those in the chamber.